Well, Christy, Happy New Year
Yay!
2021.
Yay! Oh
Yay!
my gosh, I can't believe this day is here.
Oh, I agree completely. I mean, have you ever been so happy to usher a year out?
No. I mean, I really cannot ever think of any
No.
time that I was like, "Oh my
See ya.
gosh, I'm so glad this year
I
is
know.
over."
I know. For
And
sure.
please, please let 2021 be better.
Well, we're just gonna ease into it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yep.
turn my
So we're 2021 now, so that means that we're legal age to drink. 2021.
right just now. Cheers. We've never deserved a cheers
Cheers.
more, Christy.
I know. Cheers.
So what are you drinking there?
Okay.
Mm, okay, let's get into it.
All right.
Ben
I
is
am
here.
drinking the Brancott Estate Sauvignon Blanc.
Ooh,
This is
very
from
nice.
New Zealand. It was actually $9.99 in my store, but it also is 91 points
Wow.
on the
Yeah,
scale of things, and it was won a bunch of awards.
on the
And
scale
I
of
like
things.
I love the label because look, you can see that there's like it's on the upside
Is that a
down.
cow or is that a sheep
Yeah,
upside down?
well, it might be a sheep or
Yeah,
something. I don't know.
on
New Zealand
the bottom of the world.
have one.
Yeah.
Yes, and so that what they say on the label is when you're on the flip side of the world, you can't help but think a little differently.
Oh,
And lucky we did. Otherwise, we might not have found New Zealand's great wine region, Marlborough. This Sauvignon Blanc is as crisp as a frosty morning, and
oh,
with passion fruit and grapefruit notes, it is a great match with seafood, grilled chicken, summer greens, and good company.
I love that.
I know, and it is tasty. I am telling you. It was like,
I love a Sauvignon Blanc, and I do love New Zealand ones. I'm going to put that on my
yeah,
list. And it's such a great
and
label.
it's
I
screw
absolutely
top.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So, what are
love
you
it.
drinking?
So I am drinking. I violated the rules a little bit.
Why?
Well, I went outside of our
Price
normal
range?
price range, yes, that word.
Oh.
And by
Well, I
accident,
may balanced it maybe.
yes, you did, and I appreciate that, but not enough balance. But my husband brought this home. This is Jessup Cellars. I'll pull it up. It's also a lovely label. It's just a very calming label. It's a
Mhm.
Zinfandel from Sonoma County.
I love Zinfandels.
I do too, and this is delicious. And my husband brought it home because a friend of his, we have known since before we were married, is one of the owners.
Oh,
And
wow, that's
yeah,
great.
he and I think it's four other couples, or maybe four couples, maybe,
Uh-huh.
are the owners of this. And the gentleman that we know lives around here, and he has this vineyard out west, and it is a lovely, lovely bottle of Zinfandel.
Mm.
Yeah. So I thought when we were talking about doing this, I thought, oh, I have to share this with Christy. It's got,
Yes.
as you know, Zinfandel's lovely. So it's just very ripe fruit, cherries, raspberries, boysenberries, plums, and juniper berries are layered with subtle notes of cinnamon and cracked pepper. It says this wine is juicy and beautifully structured with ripe, well-rounded tannins. And I agree. And it says you can drink it now or you could age it for 4 years, but I chose now.
Oh, well, it sounds lovely.
It is lovely. It's a
I
little
know. We'll have
pricey.
to get another bottle when I come
Yeah.
out. How's that?
Yeah, we will. We will. Because we have a local restaurant that has a really nice small kind of boutique wine selection. And so
Mhm.
it's about $50 a bottle. So that's obviously
Oh,
way more expensive than we ever spend, but it was a
right.
special occasion.
Well, cheers.
So
Happy
cheers.
New Year.
Happy New Year.
Oh, wow. So, talking about the wine makes me
Yes.
ask you a question.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yes. So, I'm wondering
Mhm.
because, we're actually recording this a couple days early. Do you have any New Year's Eve traditional foods or because
Traditions
we
or traditional
do. We
food?
have some I guess traditions.
Okay,
But food wise, like
I'm gonna guess that you do.
yes,
Because
I do.
usually the people who ask that, the question, they have the answer. Um, I'm going to tell you that I do not. And I have run the gamut between, big parties and hosting them and quiet evenings and whatever. I really like to go to bed early, well before
Mhm,
midnight,
mhm.
because I like to get up very early on New Year's Day, and especially
Yeah.
this year, that's my plan. So
Oh,
um,
okay.
I we do not, and this year I'm going to make a few appetizers and go to bed.
Sounds good.
Happily tuck this year away. I want to know
Yeah.
what yours are because I'm guessing you must.
Well, we normally, it depends on the year, but we like to have crab legs, seafood.
Hmm.
And I
Mhm.
usually like to have it like around 10 or something, because then that will
Oh my
keep me
gosh.
awake. Because that otherwise,
Yeah, you're like me. You go to bed early. I don't know how you can stand
yeah,
it.
yeah. So I'm not sure actually this year. We do have some crab legs that we got, but I'm not sure because we're also doing, since my kids weren't here for Christmas, we're going to do our Christmas
Oh, sure.
dinner earlier. So then I'm going to make, I'm actually going to try beef Wellington.
Oh, wow.
I
Have you never
know.
made that before?
I think I have one time a really long time ago. So
I never have. That sounds like a
I'm
lot of
gonna
work.
try it. Yeah, yeah. So I have my daughter here to help, and I said, let's try it. And so we may
Fun.
have so much food that we don't really want to eat the crab
Yeah,
legs,
yeah. Well, you can have
or
on New
we'll
Year's
be
Day
so
then.
full that I'll fall asleep before making the crab legs. I don't know.
You know what the good thing is about this year is that whatever happens, you can just go 2020. It's
Yeah,
2020.
right.
Whatever weirdness happens,
I
it's like,
know.
oh.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Well, I love that. So will you guys watch like the ball drop or anything like that on TV?
Yeah, we usually do when we're home. I think because, like I said, sometimes I fall asleep. I don't know. We might try to watch some movies in between or
Hmm.
play some games. I got that game that you love, Table Talk or
Oh
Table
yeah.
Topics.
Table topics. That's so
I
great.
bought that for us for Christmas. So I was like, let's do that. That'll keep us occupied for a while.
It
And
is, you know what? That is one of my family's very favorite things we do because you can just keep going and going and you learn so much about each other. Because a lot of it's things you wouldn't talk about normally, even with
right,
your people you're closest with. So,
right.
oh, good for
So
you
I'm
guys.
looking forward to that.
Yeah,
We'll
I
see.
love that.
Make sure I can stay up, but we'll see.
Well, I will text you about 8 o'clock and wish you a happy new year. And then I'm going
Well,
to
what are you going to do though? Your kids are there, right? They can't really go out, can they?
no, my daughter, one daughter is not going to be here. She's
Okay.
elsewhere. And the other daughter is going to be here and has a very small little, plan. So very
Okay.
safe little small plan. So um, if she changes her mind, then I will tweak my plans and stay up, which
Try to
I have
stay
done.
up.
Which I have done. But
Yeah.
if it sounds like it will just be my husband and myself, and he's very clear on my
I do like getting up early on
I love,
on
and I
New
want to
Year's
get up
Eve,
early with a clear mind
New Year's
and
Day, I should say.
yeah,
Yeah.
having gone to bed with
Yeah, because I sort of have a tradition there too. If I do wake up with it, then I like to have bagels and cream cheese and lox.
oh, very
Because I
nice.
did that one New Year's Eve I was when I was young and I didn't party or anything, went to
Hmm.
bed. I probably stayed up till midnight, but
Yeah.
didn't drink or whatever. And then I got up and went to the store and got that. And
Oh, that's very
yeah,
nice. Were you pregnant that year?
no, this is when I should have been being wild, but I think we went out the night before New Year's Eve. So I was like being good on New Year's Eve.
Well, it's funny because I know some people have a tradition of trying to see the sunset on New Year's Eve and the sunrise on New Year's Day. That is not hard because the sun rises so late right now,
Yeah.
and so I'll be up well before that. But I am doing a really big yoga session on New Year's Day, actually on New Year's Eve, and I'm doing a yoga session on New Year's Day morning. So
Wow.
I'm doing 108 sun salutations to bring in the new year.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
will need to be really on top of my game. It's
Wow.
it's a rigorous practice and I love it. So I'm going to try to stop drinking like at 7 o'clock at night on New Year's Eve. I'll let you know how that goes. I'll check back
Okay.
in.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll be up watching the ball drop, watching movies on TV. Yes. And
Yeah,
I will be in bed, but
right.
let's talk about movies, shall we?
Hmm.
We'll drink here.
Yes.
Okay, so I would like to talk to you about HBO Max. Have you heard of this? This is like the big new.
I have, and I'm so curious about this because I saw that Wonder Woman was on
Hmm.
HBO Max, and I was like, "So what does that mean?" Because I have HBO. What is HBO
Okay,
Max? Is
that
that
is not
something
included.
extra?
I learned this the hard way. I will tell you,
Oh
I
no!
I am not the TV streaming person in our house. I'm
Right,
of the four of us, I'm the only one that's not. I just am like, I just want to turn it on and have it work. And
right.
I'm okay saying that. It's terrible and pathetic, but that's what it is.
Yep.
But I wanted to watch a movie last weekend. There's a new movie with Meryl Streep and Diane Wiest. It's called Let Them Talk, I think it is.
Oh yeah, that I saw
Oh my
some.
gosh. And I love these and Candace Bergen. And I thought, well,
Right.
I watch them in anything, right? But it was on HBO Max. And so I said, I'll get it. I'll get it all set up. Like 2 hours later of frustration. So it is a
Really?
totally separate, because everything I've ever done otherwise, I could just download through Amazon Prime. We have
Right.
Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney, the usual suspects, right?
Yeah.
This is in its own beast. And it is, even if you have HBO, which we do through, I think, Prime,
Uh
it's
huh.
totally separate. You have to download, pay for it separately. I think it's $15 a month.
Oh
But
wow.
apparently it's like, was
The
it?
new releases or something? Is
Oh,
that
it's
why?
all the new releases, like things that
So
would
it's
normally
like,
be.
did this just happen since COVID? So
Yeah,
that,
I think a
since
few
people
months
couldn't go
ago.
to the movies, then they
Yeah,
decided to,
yeah, and I
like,
kept reading things like people were upset in Hollywood because whatever. I
yeah.
think they were kind of hoping to hold all those movies back and then release them to theaters, and we all know it's going to be a while. But
Hmm.
anyway, so I finally had to surrender and ask my husband to do it for me because you know how good I am with technology, Christy.
Yeah, that's
And
good
but
though.
it was seeing. So we got to watch. We got takeout that night from the Pheasant Restaurant in Brookings, which is a really great restaurant. One of my employees gave me a gift card, so we had dinner on her, which was
Nice.
fabulous. And we went down to watch this movie, and my husband kindly finally set it up. It took him 8 minutes, where I had tried for an hour and a half. Very impressed with myself. But I will say it looks to be very worthwhile. I mean, the upcoming movies, or the movies that are, I guess they're apparently like all available right away. Like when they're ready to
Right.
go, they're not doing that release thing or something. Anyway, it looks very promising.
Oh, so how was that movie too?
You know what? It was not how I expected. Um,
Hmm.
it's what's his name? The director is Steven Soderbergh. What's his
Right.
name? He has kind of a quirky take on things. Remember any
Hmm.
of his movies? And it was definitely that. Like you couldn't quite figure out what was like where this
Well,
is going.
I've seen interviews with them about it.
Yeah, I
And
have too.
apparently they actually went on a cruise
I know.
across the water and improvised most of the
And
movie. So
that
that
was the
might
best.
be was it
No,
the
it
best
was
part?
super fun. Like
Okay.
they're just all those women are so engaging. I would watch them literally read, the phone book,
Right.
as people say. I mean,
Right.
it was great. It just it was quirky enough that I kept kind of going, what? It's good. I
Okay.
definitely would watch
Well,
it.
if I get HBO Max, because I was wanting to watch Wonder Woman too,
Oh yeah,
then
that's actually I think on our list on New Year's Day. My daughter really loves the Marvel and that world, whatever it is.
yeah.
I'm
I
not.
just love Wonder Woman.
I do too. So cool. Is it
Forget the rest of them.
Gal Gadot is her name?
Yeah.
Actress? Yeah,
Yeah.
she's fabulous.
Or yeah.
Or is it Gil Gadot? I
I
think
think
it's
it's
Gil.
Gal Gadot.
Gal. Oh,
That's how they kept
she's from
pronouncing it because
Israel,
I
I think.
say in my head Godot, and then they were introducing her as Gal Gadot, and I was
I
like,
think
oh, so I
she's
guess
from
that's how it's
Israel, I
pronounced.
think. So
Yeah,
I'm
she
guessing
is.
there's a
She
way to
lives
pronounce it.
there and everything. Oh
Yeah.
yes. So
Anyway,
speaking of Wonder
okay.
Woman,
What?
all right. I was just watching the news, and I tell you what,
I told you not to watch the news.
I
No.
know, and I haven't really been watching it much since the
Good.
election,
Yeah.
because there's not as much drama. I mean, it's just silly, ridiculous stuff that you're
Yeah.
like, oh geez. But I really am liking the Biden cabinet picks
Oh,
because there's a lot of women, a lot of diversity.
yes.
All the picks. I don't know. I'm so confused because I'm not really into all the positions. So some are cabinet
Mm-hmm.
and some are what? I don't know. His
Well, there's
personal,
different
yeah.
positions within
And so
his.
some have to be
Yeah.
confirmed and some
Yes.
don't.
Correct.
But the most recent one was Deb Holland.
Oh yes.
Holland. I don't
I
know
am
if that's how you
Holland.
pronounce her either.
It's Holland. I am a huge fan of hers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Interior
She's
Secretary, right? She's,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I was like, that will be cool because I'm
mhm,
just kind of because she's real into the environment too.
she is.
She's been protesting at the pipeline and things like that, and I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I want. I mean, my platform has always been sort of women, environment, whatever, and here you
Yeah.
got them all thrown together. So I'm
You know,
excited to see. I hope she does get confirmed because who knows with.
I expect she will get confirmed. I had seen when I first heard of her, she was on the Sunday morning version of the Today Show today, like Sunday
With
Today or
Willie Geist.
Willie Geist, and I really like
Yeah,
him
I
a
love
lot.
that show.
I did too. And she was on, and they did Harry Smith did an interview with her. This was when she first was confirmed.
She's what, a congresswoman, right?
Yes, and I'm trying to think. So that would have been 2018, right? And there was two Native American women for the first time confirmed, and I just found that to be amazing. I'm
Yes.
in a state with a lot of Native American population,
Mhm.
and they don't get nearly the representation that they deserve or should have for a
Right.
huge amount of reasons.
Right.
And um, so I was really fascinated by that, and I loved the concept, just the concept of when I heard Biden was even floating, that was kind of the idea that he might pick her. I love the concept of a Native American woman being in charge of making sure the US treaties are honored for the Native Americans.
Right.
And I
I
just
know.
can't think of anything more
Fitting.
powerful. Yeah,
Yeah.
and fitting. So yes, that is and I too have really enjoyed watching his cabinet picks because they aren't donors. They are people who are talented
Or
and
family.
there are people who are talented in their own right, and I think they're going to bring a lot. And so yeah,
Yeah.
it's been really fun to see. And yeah,
Right.
it is. It is. Okay. So speaking of successful and powerful women, Christy,
Mhm.
I'm talking about
Yes.
you.
And you.
And
I
let's talk
know.
about our goals for this year. What do you think about goal
Oh.
setting?
Whew.
Oh, she's
Whew.
sweating.
I'm sweating. I'm sweating. I got so many goals. I just don't know where to start. But
Well,
what are you doing? Because you're my guru
you
person.
know
I
what?
look to you to help me with
Well,
this.
that's very nice of you. I just love the whole world of um, learning about how to set goals, how to then implement systems and the small steps to achieve them. Because goals are just, the
Right.
lofty stuff. Then you got to dig deep and you're only as good as the systems you put in place. And I'm always looking for improvement upon that. So I've been really digging deep. I mean, you would be
I don't even know how you have time for that.
because it's like that's I love that kind of stuff. And if you saw my desk that way, it looks
Uh-huh.
so clean back there. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm,
If you
mm-hmm.
are watching us on YouTube, you can see this, but if you're listening to us, I'm pointing to this very clean area behind me, but off camera, I have got, and this is, so my goal is to get all my stuff done so that I can spend 2 full days really diving deep into a review of last year, looking forward. So I'm really nerding out about this. I always do, but I'm going to tell you this here, Christy.
Uh-huh.
I think we need to all be just kind of gentle going into this
Yeah.
next year. You know what I
I think
mean?
we
Like
start with a clean slate, like as if,
just kind of pad your way in, like as
yeah.
if I think about like when I'm walking around my house trying to be quiet and silent, so not to wake anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I want to kind of go into the year, just because
Yeah.
it's been like I'm shell shocked still from this year.
I know.
So
This is so true. I know.
yeah.
It's just like, We have a lot. We just have to I mean, look, I can't even speak.
I know.
I'm thinking that it's more my goals are going to be more getting back on track
Yes.
than
Yes.
moving
But
forward. It's
also,
going to
what
be
is,
like, what did I missed this whole period of time where
I
I
know.
maybe, but we have to admit we weren't stagnant. We did
No.
succeed in things. Maybe they weren't what we expected.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say is that I think what I love is the new version of what on track is changed for me. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's changed for everybody, right? This year has to have meant something in a different way than any other year. And so I'm really, and I will tell you, I've started kind of, I do an, like an annual review, try to look back at the year, assess what
Mhm.
went really well and what didn't. And
Right.
it's been painful to start
Yeah.
journaling about this because it's just like I always pick a word of the year. Not always, I just
Mhm.
started a few years ago. And I picked a word last year that did not take. It was not the word of the
I
year.
want to know what it was. You might
Oh,
have told me, but I forgot.
I kind of, okay. So my word of the year was going to be, this is embarrassing, but I will just share it because this is what an
You
ass
probably
I was.
shared it on our podcast
I
last
don't know
year.
if I
I
did
can
or
go
not.
back and look.
It was consistency. I just wanted to develop a consistent daily practice of, how to implement
Right.
everything. What I
Well,
think
don't be embarrassed. That's a good
it's
goal.
comical at this point. Criminy. I
Yeah,
mean, it just
I
was
know.
like consistency was completely not the year at all.
Right.
But what I think my
It should have
year
been criminy.
it was, but a different word.
Yeah.
Shitballs, criminy. Anyway. No, I think my word of the year was grace because I had to learn to give myself
Mhm.
grace. And
Mhm.
I preached that to my family so much that I bet they wanted to throw grace balls at me. I was like, give each other grace. This is hard. Let's just give everybody space and grace. Just give everybody the space they need to be in. And
Right.
yeah. So anyway, I'm working on
Yep.
my word of the year for next
Oh,
year. I'm not sure what it
well,
is
let me
yet.
know. Let me
I've
know.
got, I should show you I got a list. I'm auditioning words.
You can give me the second one on the list because I'm
Okay.
sure I need all of the
I'll
same
just,
ones too.
I'll just
Be like, if you
assign you.
narrow it down, you'd be like, okay, I'll make Christy do this one.
You know what? Hey, this is a much easier one. Do you ever set a reading goal? Like, because this is big. Like you see people on social media and, because we follow all reading and writing
Right.
things, people who set like the number of books they want to read. Do you ever do anything like that? Have you
I
thought about it?
never have. I have heard of it and more recently, when I was
Mm-hmm.
looking at Christmas and the reading list, and I'm like, I have no idea how many books I read. And because we read for the podcast
Yeah, we read a lot.
and, and then for ourselves. So
Yeah,
we're
no, for
reading,
sure.
reading, and reading. And I've always loved to read. And there have been periods of time when I probably didn't read very much, kids
Mm.
young, I would think.
Oh, for sure.
Um, but no, I've never said, oh, I need to read this much or whatever, because I feel like I read a lot anyway.
Yeah. I think sometime we should do a podcast where we just talk about how you fit so much reading in because I feel
Yeah.
like we both read a lot.
Yeah.
And
I wonder the same thing about you too, because I'm like,
yeah.
you'll be like, oh, I read this other book. And I'm like going, oh my gosh. And then I started thinking, but I'm going to be keeping track. See, I haven't been keeping track.
Oh,
So
you
I
see, I
don't
did do
have
that
any
this year.
clue.
I haven't
And
counted yet, but I did keep track this year pretty
I'm going
carefully.
to start. That's going to
Yeah.
be one of my
Good for
goals is
you.
to start January 1st, and I'll see for the next year because
Yeah,
I'm
be
just
curious.
curious.
I'm
Yeah, I
curious
have
too.
no idea.
So how are you going to keep track? Like a journal or a spreadsheet?
I got the journals that
Oh, you did? Because
yes.
I'm going to keep track
I
three
know
different
you
ways.
have a spreadsheet, but I got the journal that I said on my Christmas list,
Yes, you did. And
remember?
that is lovely. And I think it's so fun to journal about what you've read. I mean, I love that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it has a page for each, and you can write
Mhm.
down whatever you want, and it prompts you so that you can say what you read, and that
We should
way,
put, Chris, we should put the link to that on our,
yeah.
in our newsletter, our blog post about this so
Okay.
people can find that because they really are cool little journals.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
They're
I love it.
already in our Christmas episode
They are,
blog
but
or
we can remind them again so they don't have to dig for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, because yeah, yeah. So anyway, but I just keep reading, and we only have a few days till the new year. So I'm gonna have to get that ready. But if you notice behind me,
Hmm.
I still have my Christmas decorations
Oh
up.
yeah. If you notice behind me, nada.
Nothing.
It's gone.
Well, you're so funny because you take them down like right after
I
Christmas, don't you?
do. I do. I just am ready to be done.
And
I know
then
my mom about
I
lost her mind.
I wait until after New Year's. I
You
always like
should.
to.
You should. If you were not as anal as I am, you are a person that can enjoy that. I
Well,
could
do you
not.
have a real tree?
You know what? I do not this year. We did artificial.
Oh, because like with a real tree, that kind of forces you at some
You
point to
do.
take it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. No, we've had both over the years, but this year was all artificial.
And what do they normally do with the real trees up there? Like I live in the city,
Yeah.
so
What do you guys do?
um
You'll find out.
last year, no, I'm trying to
It's like,
remember because I was like, I've only lived in this place a couple years. So I was trying to
mhm.
remember what I did. And last year, what I did was they have at parks near here,
Mm,
they have tree chipping where you
yeah.
bring your Christmas trees and you drop them off. And, because I don't want to put them just in the dumpster.
No, no. Our city comes by, there's a window of time and you can pull them on your boulevard and they pick them up and same thing. Yeah.
And that
So,
was when I lived in a house that did that. But I was reading this article and it sounded so cool. Now, not for me because I'm here, but for somebody
mhm.
like you, they said one of the best things to do is to put it in your yard.
I'm
Don't
sorry.
freak out.
Yeah, I'm
Put it
freaking out.
in your
You're making me
yard.
sweat. What?
Like in your backyard where you've got woods around and stuff, and they said either prop it up against another tree or put it down in the garden, and it can become a habitat for the wildlife out there. And you could put like pine, you can even decorate it with pine cones with peanut
I
butter on them.
am not running an animal sanctuary in my backyard. I mean, I can.
Why not?
Okay,
Oh
I will
my
say
god.
this. I thought of you because my mother-in-law, who lives on the ranch in the Black Hills, she has much more
Hmm.
space for that.
Hmm.
She is running an animal sanctuary. She has got all the animals. But she every year, my father-in-law, who's passed, has started this tradition, and she kept it up this year. They pick one little scraggly evergreen and they decorate it and they call it their Charlie Brown Christmas tree. And
Oh.
so along
And it's
somewhere,
outside. It's already
yeah, yeah, oh yeah,
growing. Yeah.
it's along somewhere along the 7 mile driveway.
Oh,
They
that's so
and they
sweet.
pick a little the scraggliest little underbrush tree they can, and then they decorate it. And she did this year, which
Well,
is really
that's what
sweet.
they say. They say, like, you put the tree out, and by the end of the winter, the tree does look like a Charlie Brown tree.
Hmm.
But up until then, it's still got needles and
Yeah.
birds and
No, I love that because honestly, especially in this area, like we're
do you
getting
guys even
more
have
away.
birds in the winter?
Yes, we have birds in the winter.
Well, I
What do you
don't
think? They all
know.
went to
Don't
Fort Lauderdale?
they fly south for the
Well, a
winter,
lot of
and
them
you guys
do.
are north.
No, no, we a lot of them do, but we do have lots of scurrying little and a few flying animals that
Okay.
endure this winter. And
Wow.
we always will put out, little treats for animals that we think look a little wayward. So it would be a nice idea. I just don't want to invite too much of that because my husband and my
Right.
kids would go nuts with it.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah.
funny. But yeah, you are looking a little anti-Christmas behind you compared to me, which
Well,
is
because
fine
it's
for
the
New
new
Year's.
year, Christy, and I'm ready
Yeah.
to bring in the new year. So speaking of that, can you, for anybody who's not listening or who's not watching us, I'm pointing to my very white wall and my very white chair behind me, which my family makes fun of. Just don't worry. But
Oh,
you
but
can
look, it's
see,
right by the snowy window, which
yes,
we're having a
yes.
snowstorm. So
You
there
can
you
see
go.
I have a pillow as I always do in my chair, and
Yeah.
I have a throw. And have you
Yeah.
noted the colors that they are? This is by
They're
complete,
yellow and
yes, and gray. And this is
gray.
by complete happenstance, I swear to God. But that is, have you ever heard of the Pantone colors of the year?
No.
I hadn't either until last year.
Okay, because I'm like
I
going,
had
I am
never heard of it.
so. I mean,
Yeah.
the word Pantone does not
It didn't mean anything to me either, and apparently it's this
It
whole thing.
yeah, but it also doesn't seem foreign to me, so I must have somewhere along the
Somewhere,
line
yeah. It's a huge deal.
heard it, but I
Yeah.
don't know what the heck it is.
It's a it's like an institute that, they set color and whatever. Anyway,
Do they come up with the little codes in our computer that when I'm working on the website, I can pick a color by code and then it'll be the same color
see,
in a
that's
different
like
thing?
the technology in the TV. I just wanna turn
Okay.
it on, and have it work, and so you lost me on that
Because
one.
I'm like, I don't know. Maybe
I
we're
did
already using the Pantone because we have gray on our website. So,
well, so every year, this organization at, like, literally, I think it's here, I have it, I printed it out. I think
but
it's
I
just
mean, those are two colors.
Pantone.com.
Is it always two colors or
No, this is the first time they've ever done that. And,
it's for the sad people and the happy people?
last year it was blue. I remember hearing like the blue color of the 2020 is the Pantones picked blue, some kind of blue. And I was like, what is that? So this year I was kind of curious and I heard, and this year's colors are, drum roll please, they are ultimate gray
Huh?
and illuminating yellow. And they are two independent colors that highlight how different elements come together to support one another. And I love this because they say that practical and rock solid, which is the gray, which is, by the way,
Mhm.
my favorite color, which is so
That's why we
sad.
have it on our website.
Yeah.
So,
But at the same time, warming and optimistic, the yellow, of course. The union of these two colors is one of strength and positivity. And I thought that's what we need for the year. Like that
yeah,
is so great for this year.
yeah.
So
Except
anyway,
I'm not sure if I'm in agreement with the aesthetic of the gray and the yellow together.
oh, you
It
are?
seems
I
odd
kicked
to
off my
me.
chair immediately.
No, no. No, you're in the majority,
I think they
obviously.
look lovely.
Lovely.
Anyway, so that's apparently it's a whole thing. And I've gone to the website and you can dive deep and it is really interesting. I still don't
All
quite
right.
get.
I'm gonna
It's
do it like
interesting.
in all my free time. I'm gonna do
Set a goal for
it.
free time, Christy.
I know, but that sounds like something that's really kind of interesting.
It
So
is
I
pretty
might,
interesting, actually. It's a whole
yeah.
world I didn't know about.
Yeah. Well, Kathy, I'm
Hmm,
telling you, this conversation has been very inspiring to me.
good. I agree.
Hmm.
Anytime we talk, it's inspiring, especially with the
Hmm.
wine.
Hmm. Yeah.
So we just need to stop talking and start doing.
Oh, after we finish our wine, how's that?
Yeah, priorities. Well, we want to wish everyone a happy and healthy 2021.
Absolutely. I will toast to that.
Cheers.
Cheers.